Okay, we're going to be looking into a product for TNA. Well, I should say it's for any game. He originally had these posted a couple of years ago in a Genesis. And, of course, me and a couple other people that had, it kind of spread pretty quickly, we're like, oh, those are awesome, everything like that. And then hadn't really heard much. Well, apparently he's went through several different board revisions and kind of changed things up. And then I saw one, it kind of come back up again last week, and it's a plasma pop bumper. So instead of doing 4 in Genesis, I'm just going to do 1 in TNA and try to do this kind of as a DIY how-to thing, because he doesn't sell a kit for, Spooky or TNA, maybe yet or at all. I don't know. It looks like it'll be pretty easy. I did do a little bit of research on TNA, and I talked to Scott, who designed the game. And because I noticed, I was like, oh, this needs 6 to 12 volts. It's here in the box. I haven't even opened it yet. So I noticed that it needs 6 to 12 volts, and there's a power supply in here for 12 volts. Scott just said, hey, I don't know what mod you're doing, but the 12 volts on this game is kind of heavily taxed. So he just mentioned, he just said, make sure you have an LED beaker light, which I already do. So that's the main draw. So let me get this open and we'll go ahead and go from there. Okay. So this is, I kind of cut the video off a little bit quick. But the name it's from Hubblink. I'll have to get a link and put it in the description below. So this is actually I gotta remember, there's like the regular kit, then there's a premium kit. It's like FX and Pro or something like that. So this kit actually, this kit comes with the better kit, I should say. I'll have to look that up. Comes with the remote control. So I have to look that up. I didn't think I was getting a remote control. So it's got some weight to it. Okay, I'll have to. Yep. Okay, give me a second. Okay, so this is the plasma pop bumper. This is the whole main thing. I know the instructions are on his website. So this is the whole. And I know, yeah, there's some buttons down at the, let me spin this around, make it a little bit easier to read. Pattern, brightness, and color up here at the top. And I assume you can do this with the remote as well. So it looks like it just says lamp input, 6 to 18 volt, AC DC. Yeah, I'll look into that. I'm good with electronics, but it's kind of, I guess it can rectify it itself if you give it an AC voltage. It has its own rectifier in there to straighten that out. So, but overall, okay, that looks way different. Okay, that looks huge. It is slightly bigger. Okay, it looks bad because it's like, here, look, these are the same size. I will say it is bigger, but realistically, 3/8 to half an inch bigger. Not that, once you get it on there, it's not going to be even a 1/4 inch all the way around. We can kind of keep an eye on it, because right here, that little gap, it's about 3/8 of an inch. So we'll keep an eye on that and see how that compares whenever we get done here. So I think all the instructions are on his website. I don't really think I'm going to need any, pretty much, because it's not TNA specific. So So let's open this up. Let me pause for a second again. Okay, so basically you just have the power cord, 2 little screws. This will just have to go screw into the pop bumper body. And then these are like little quick connect. You just slide the wire and snap them down. I never really use these, but we have them at work. You know, there's little quick connects so we can see what's going on. So, because what I'll probably end up doing is just running 2 wires from the power supply. I might just do power and ground. I'll see if there is a ground right here at the pop bumper, just in case anybody just wants to run 1 wire. But yeah, I think I also might have a clear pop bumper body and maybe a different skirt. So if I have this apart, because the difference with the TNA one is there's an actual, there's like 3 or 4 wires in there for that lit up, because the way it changes colors and does everything. It's not just a bulb, so it's more like a flasher. It's like a flat circuit board in there with several bulbs. So we will have to tuck that wire up. Make sure there's no bare wires. If you just want to snip off the bare wire and tape it up, I'll probably go ahead and leave it full length, and then I'll just heat shrink it with some real small heat shrink. That way I'm not shortening the wire at all. We'll have to see what's in there. Maybe if I'm lucky, I can just unplug that 1 wire from like the board and, just keep it in the coin door. But anyway, let's get this all moved out of the way and get to the underside of that pop bumper, see what we got working with here. So, okay. So I went ahead and the top piece for mine, it was kind of like double-sided tape, so I popped that off. Then you just have the 2 normal screws that you're going to have with your pop bumper cap. And then, so it is a dome-looking bulb, but, okay. So with mine, the cap was like double-sided tape, because then I have multiple layers with that nuclear pop bumper cap that I have. So once I take the double-sided tape off piece, then I had the 2 normal screws that you're going to have for the pop bumper cap. Then yeah, I was thinking this was a flat disc. It is still a bulb, like a dome, but then you can see you have 4 wires down there soldered on and 2 screws. So what we'll probably need to do is undo the 2 screws, lift this up out of the body, and then unsolder those 4 wires. So a little bit more involved than, let's say, if it was like a old game, but let me go ahead and get that loosened up and see what else we got going on. Okay, so I took the balls out, lifted the playfield, and took out the 2 screws from inside the body. Now on this side, what we got going on here, we have those are your 4 wires right there. And you can see they actually split, and they go 2 right there and 2 under there. There is a zip tie right there. So what I'm going to do is snip that zip tie, and then down here you can see it plugs in right there. So I'm going to go ahead and just, once I snip that zip tie and unplug that, I can pull it out of the playfield a little bit on the other side, and once we unsolder it, we can just take that harness out, set it in the coin box or whatever you want to do, just not lose it, save on to it for later. Once we take it out, that would be a good time to take pictures, keep it for future reference, just in case you ever decide to take this plasma one out, take it to another game, whatever we want to do. You'll need to solder those 4 wires back on, and you will need that information, or reference this video and you'll have it from me. So give me a second, let me go grab my flush cuts and soldering iron. Okay, so I unplugged the harness from right here. It's coming up, and then I snipped that 1 little zip tie there. So now you can see all this is loose. Make sure you don't mess with those 2 tongs on the end of the switch, because that needs to stay separated or your pop bumper is going to go nuts. So with this loose, I can pull the bulb out. I haven't tried yet, but let's, if my big fingers let me. Actually, the whole thing's loose now. It's not screwed to the playfield. I got too big of fingers. My fingers are too big. Let me go grab my little bulb tool here. I'll get that pulled out. Okay, so actually at this point, you can just kind of pull on the body a little bit and it just slides out. So we'll just have to get this the rest of the way out here so that way we can solder it. Also, yeah, make sure your game's off, and the service port will still work with the game off, but never solder on electrical stuff when the stuff is powered up. I've done it messing around on like stuff at work, and I'll hook up the soldering iron to it and you'll see like other LEDs and you'll see other stuff turn on from the current coming from your soldering iron. It's not just heat, it's electrical current. So turn off your game. So anyway, let me reach in there and get those two separated a little bit. Okay, so let's see if we can get in here and show you this. I guess not. I guess it's not gonna work. Okay, but there is, can you do it? No. Okay, so there is a, God, I wish I could zoom in here or something. There we go. So you can see there's an R right there for red, a B for blue, a G for green, and we got a little plus sign there for gray. So we're just gonna unsolder those 4 wires and take the harness completely out. And so all I did was push on the blue and green coming out there and the gray and red, push that through, this came out. So once I unsolder those 4 wires, I can just go to this side of the play field and pull it back through. This would be a good time if you have, I think I have a clear body. I think that would look pretty good on here. I'm not sure if the pop bumper skirt is loose. No. If you wanted to change out the skirt, which I'm going to, you would just have to do that nut right there and the nut on the other side, and that will release the slam ring right here. So that's going to be the same. That's like pretty much every game I've ever done. It's pretty much that way, so that's no big deal. But the different part for me, I guess, is just the fact that you have these 4 wires under here instead of just 2. So let me go grab my other body, unsolder this, kind of do that stuff. We'll get to that point. Also, I'm not sure what color. I know I bought some different skirts for this. I'll just have to check and see like what do I want to do, because now instead of, I don't know if I have like a chrome one that'd be cool, or something mirrored maybe. I think I have a black one, maybe purple. I'll have to see what I got, but maybe I'll change it up. Okay, so after removing the 2 nuts from the other side of the play field, you don't have to do this part, but I'm changing out the skirt, so I'm gonna show you this part. Yeah, you can pull the 2 harnesses through, like into the cab, those 4 wires, the 2 little harnesses, pull that through, put that off to the side, then remove the 2 nuts from the bottom of the slam ring. Then you're left with this, which is going to be normal for pretty much every game that you got. So you got your slam ring, your pop bumper skirt, and then you got your little spring right there. I do have a couple different colors to go with. I have black, looks slimming, I guess. But I also have purple, so I'm going to go with purple on this. So if you're looking at doing this mod or whatever, I would suggest purple or, maybe like chrome, would be a good one to go with. So put the spring back on there, line this up. It's the same as every game, so make sure spring works. The slam ring on this game, obviously you're only using half of it. So this would be a good time to clean the bottom of this, or flip it 180. Do both, I would suggest. So right now I'm just kind of checking mine. So mine is going to go in this way. So then you'll have to line it back up and get it through there and then put those 2 nuts back on. So, and then I have a clear pop bumper body, so we're going to go with that. That's going to end up going, which I got to make sure there's a certain way. I got to make sure you can't do this one backwards. So, because as you can see, 2 of the legs are longer and then 2 of the holes are deeper. So you got to make sure it's going in that way. And then before I get too far, we have the power wire that we have to feed through here. and which I assume we can just go through one of these holes and feed it down through the playfield with his power wire. I may want to go ahead and extend that because I'm going to run it to the back here. I haven't looked at this yet, so you're doing this with me. Maybe this is the right one. Voltage, AC 100. High voltage. So I'm gonna have to look for either labels or see which one's which. So give me a minute, get my meter out and we can go over this. Give me a second. Okay, so that would have been kind of tricky to do while I was recording. So because I had to turn the machine on to test for voltages, obviously, and I don't want to, you know, accidentally jumper two things or whatever at the same time. So I just went ahead, used my fluke here. I'm holding my flashlight and my camera in the same hand, so bear with me. Okay, so on the front, if I can get down there and show you, you can see all the way to the right. Get this out of the way. Well, not all the way to the right because you have voltage 1 adjust. Okay, so you have the red wire is going to voltage 1 positive, and then common, which is going to be your ground. That's 5 volts. Mine metered about 5.2. Then you have voltage 2 with the yellow wire, and then common to the left of that. So now we're on pin 4 here, so to speak. So what we're going to use is the yellow voltage 2. That is 12. It was 12.2 on my game. So we're going to use that voltage 2 and then the ground next to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get I have a bunch of wire, so I'm going to grab some yellow and some black, and I'm going to put 2 fork terminals on it, and I'm just going to cut off, I've got a bunch, so I'm just going to cut off, let's say, 6 to 8 feet. Because I want to make sure that the playfield in the up position, this is not going to be in the way of anything, not hitting anything, because we're going to have to basically run it with a loom, stick it in the loom is what I'm going to do, kind of hide it in here and run that up to the playfield. Okay, so right now you can see this is my black and yellow wire right here, and then I just heat shrinked on, well, I crimped and heat shrinked on a couple of forks, so it's just the yellow and black, it's 12 volt. Then what I'm going to do, you have this harness running right here, and this one runs down and up to the bottom of the playfield. I'm just going to, I did put some zip ties on here to kind of mark like every 6 feet, because I'm going to let you guys know how much you need. So that way I have a good idea of roughly how much wire I end up going through doing this. So this is just normal split loom, like automotive stuff. So we're just going to add this wire inside here and get it hidden underneath the playfield. So give me a minute. Okay, so I tucked it into that black loom down here so you can see it coming out. And then white zip tie just to match. Right there, another white zip tie just to match because they're being overkill, I think. Another one there, another zip tie, another zip tie. I'm just trying to hide it, with the factory stuff as much as possible. Bring it over here with the, these are the wires for like the pop bumpers. So I just brought that over, and then from here, whenever it Y's off, I drop down to this lower harness because this is just going straight to the coil. So I dropped it to here, and so we'll have to go down in here. I need to run the actual wire that came with it. I need to plug that in, run it through, and actually do, like, let's say assembly of the pop bumper itself. Go ahead and get that installed so I know how much slack I have to deal with. Obviously I've got tons here. This is my 6 foot mark right here, is this one. So you figure that's 6 foot, 5 might have been enough, 6.5 feet. So if you have 7 foot of black and yellow, that's gonna be plenty. But there we go. Let me get the top side assembled more so that way we can work on this. Well, I'm gonna drop this down and we'll go over that from there. Oh, side note, I did go ahead because I had kind of loosely put this together. So this is kind of here. I put one screw in there just loosely. That way it just wouldn't fall out completely. So this, actually, see, that's, yeah, I think they can go around. So it was like that. But yeah, I put one screw in there just so that whole thing just wouldn't fall out. Okay, so as you can see, I just fed the wire through, one on each side. Again, that's going to be the normal way that you would see on, you know, every pinball machine that I've seen personally. So one on each side, just like normal. I left a couple inches there just to plug it in. We'll adjust that later. Then you can see the red one's coming through right there. Black one's coming through, kind of hard to see, but right there. Then what I will do is run pretty much identical to how the factory had it. I'm just going to run one on each side of the switch underneath these two wires, zip tie them together. That'll just keep it away from everything. But I do need to put my slam ring back in. But right now, the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to trim these. I did cut like a lot off. You know, I cut the other 6 feet off, but I'm going to go ahead and solder. You're going to go black to black like normal. And then you're just going to go from positive to positive, so to speak, which in our case is going to be red to yellow. So a little bit of solder and heat shrink. In my case, he did provide those clips. I'm not going to use those. I'm going to solder and heat shrink. So, but if you can't solder and heat shrink, just use those clips. Okay, so those two wires are now soldered and heat shrinked on. I'm going to leave this loose for right now because I want to get the top side fully installed. Because that way I can kind of pull through any slack and just make sure there's nothing that's going to get caught or pinched whenever we start using this thing. So let's flip over to the top side. Okay, so I got the slam ring back installed. Those two main screws are nice and solid, and I've got a little bit of slack here. Of course, like I said, I can pull this 3 or 4 inches through because I didn't finish up the bottom side yet. At this point, we have this ring. Here's the thing. I haven't looked at his instructions, but everything so far is such cut and clear. I did notice there's a notch on here and on the main pop bumper. Probably what I'll end up doing, knowing me, because, you know, computers and programming is not what I do. I'll end up looking at the instructions for like programming or, you know, setting this up and actually working properly. We'll get there. So there is a nice big notch right there, and there's a notch here, so just keep that in mind. You know, we may want to orientate this a certain direction to where maybe we don't see it. I don't think you're going to see it regardless, but let's go ahead and I'm going to put it this way. Well, yeah, the plug will reach either way, but at least that way it's on the top side instead of the bottom side. You know what? Even this way, that's pointed to the outside of the game, so I'm just going to do it that way. And then he does have a little bag with little screws right here, so let's go ahead and just put that in. Okay, so actually, the ring, it's recessed that way it fits over the body a little bit. So in the previous part, I had it upside down because I was like, well, the notch will be here or here. So it's actually back here now, so I did put it on the back side so you won't see it. So we're almost there. So give me a minute. Well, I'll plug it in and then we'll, I'm at this point, I am going to check the instructions just to see. This looks like it's pressure fit, but yeah, it seems like it's pressure fit on there. So I'm just going to double check the instructions before I plug it in and turn it on. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay. So I went ahead and read over the instructions real quick. Looks like I've done everything fine. It does mention on here, you want to put the tab in first, and then with both hands kind of press it and snap it into place. The one thing I need to check, so they have the FX and then the Pro. The Pro is the better one in this case. And the Pro comes with a remote, which mine came with a remote, but I think this is the FX pop bumper. So I'm not sure if he hooked me up with this little thing with the remote, or I don't know. So I need to look into that. Maybe it still works. I got a little upgrade. So at this point, it is plugged in. Everything's good. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on, see what happens here. Boom, boom. My little Polk subwoofer pops. So, yeah, I know it does have accelerometer options. So basically when it pops, when the pop bumper goes off, it can go off. You can change the sensitivity. It all depends on what model you get. I'm just kind of curious though. Yeah, so the remote does work. So, which it's doing the main, let me, good idea here. Let's turn the lights off. So like if I go red, it wants to work from this. Colors are a little off with my phone, but you know, there's green, there's a bunch of different greens. Yeah, see, like that's white to me. It kind of looks white to you. So it's just mainly, it's just doing that outside ring. I wonder, okay, that's brightness. That does work. That turns it up and down. Off, on, obviously. With the lights off, I cannot read the remote. Okay, so that's hard to see, but I hit flash. Let me try a different color here. Oh, I probably gotta go back to, okay, so flash. Yeah, so random little bulbs are going off. Next one is strobe. That's a little bit much for me. Base. So that probably says fade. I can't read it. Yeah, I'll probably leave it on fade because I like it changing colors like that. Then, oh, okay, that one's smooth. That's nice. Wonder, can I change colors while it does that? No, it just goes back to solid. Okay, so let's go to this. And we'll make sure. Okay, I read this in the instructions. If you hit the brightness button, the brightness is changing the speed. So I can make that pretty slow. I think that's all the way down. And as I tap it, it's kind of just getting, yeah. That, I like that because that seems pretty obvious. I wonder, this is the fade. Can I speed up the fade? I'm not seeing a difference here. Actually, okay, that looks like it pretty much stopped. So yeah, the fade does change speed as well, so that's good. Now I actually can go back to flash. Now see, that looks good because it's almost like electrical sparks. Let's speed that one up. Is there a purple? Okay, but purple, flash. Okay, anytime you hit a solid color, it goes back to just solid. So if you want to do, you know, purple with flash, you got to hit purple, then hit flash again. And I'm sorry, but my phone's killing this. That is a purple ring on there. And then, yeah, I'll try a different color just so you can kind of see what's going on. So see there, I hit red, but it stopped the flash. So if I hit flash and then speed it up, I like that because it gives it like an electrical thing. So I'll probably do purple with flash. I like that. Strobe, which I guess you can probably, yeah, you can change the speeds of that as far as you want. Okay, so yeah, and then it has, like I said, I'm going to go back to purple flash, and then I'm going to speed this up as fast as it'll go. Yeah, I like that. I think green would also look good on here. Try that out. Yeah. Ooh, I may stick with that one. I'm going to play with this a lot. And the good thing is, since I have the remote, I can put it all back together and just do this through the glass. So let me go ahead and put it back together. I do want to go ahead and just kind of wipe it off because I noticed like a couple of my, you know, got some dirt back here. I need to clean my game. So I got people coming over in a week anyway. So yeah, I need to just snap that on. Oh, and then, like I said, we can kind of see So yeah, it took up about that 3/8 gap. It pretty much took that up. But me personally, I've tried the pop bumpers where they flash when they activate, and it just reminds me of a bad bulb socket. I don't know about this one. I haven't tried it. Obviously, I haven't tried it, but I don't even want to try it. I love this little flash thing because that looks like it's like electrical sparks, like lightning going on around the pop bumper. So I think that looks great, and it's either going to probably be purple or green. Right now, I'm digging the green. So let me finish putting this back together. But this is freaking awesome. I love this, and I would spring for the remote, because this makes it a lot easier, because normally I think you would have to flip this over and do the buttons on the underside here. So, and since we got the purple ring, we'll go with the green. Oh, that looks good. Now the problem is, do I got to buy 4 more of these for my Genesis? Because, I mean, it's weird science, right? Oh man, 4 more of these. Anyway, let me get this put back together, and I'm going to wipe it off real quick, and we'll do a final little look over. Okay, so now that the top is fully assembled, this is what I did down here. Same thing as factory. The black and red's coming over here. Pulled those, this, you know, a little snug, but there's some slack on there a little bit. And put a zip tie on there, just stop moving them. And then you just got my little loop of extra wire that I got. So at this point, lay the playfield down, put the balls back in, and have fun. Enjoy your game. Okay, that's glass back in. This is either Voodoo or Invisiglass, one of the two. So there you go. And that is just green with the, which effect did they call that? The top one, flash. That's the speed all the way up. So I think that goes good with the graphics on here and everything. Let's go ahead and, you know, TNA CE. Oh, fail. Ain't got no balls in it. Try that again.
Welcome to the future.
Okay, so there you go. Again, his website is Hubblink, HUBBLINK. I'll put it down in the description for you, but I'm not going to be able to play this one-handed. This is not a one-handed game here. See. Anyway, there you go. See you guys later. Get one of these. They're freaking amazing.